My name is Franceta. I go by France. I am 29 years old and I am from Costa Rica, specifically the city of Cartago, and I reside in Fresno, California. Where I grew up in, Cartago is a small city. There's a lot of rural areas, but we're also a developed country anyways. We have our shopping malls, we have movie theaters, restaurants, fast food places, schools, just like any other city. It's a pretty calm neighborhood where I grew up in, not a lot of crime, so my childhood was pretty good. When I first came to the US was for an exchange program with my high school. It was a bilingual high school, so they had programs with other schools in the US. That year we specifically went to Massachusetts, to the town of Long Meadow. We were there for 3 weeks, of almost a month. Basically got to go to school with another one of the students that we were staying with and just experience what the normal high school classes were like. So it was the first time I saw snow. It was the first time I experienced that kind of cold weather. I decided to leave because I met my now wife. We met in 2017. Gay marriage was not legal. Our best option was for me to come here. I think my immigration story began when we started making plans for me to move. Following the K-1 visa process, which is a fiancé visa, that took over a year. To file forms, pay all the fees, everything that was required in the States. When you fill out those documents, they need to make sure that somebody's here to support you financially, because they know when I first come here, I'm not gonna have a job, I'm not gonna have that financial stability to support myself. So that fell all on her, and I'm very grateful that she was able to do that. We started filing all the paperwork 2019. The following year, March 2020, is when everything shut down. Processes stopped, they were not doing interviews. That held us back probably like 6 more months. So we were getting the news from the States, we were getting news from other countries. And then I think Costa Rica started to react. We started seeing also a lot of cases. They started implementing the same precautions that they were here in the States and in other more developed countries. The grocery stores, you could only have 1 person per family go in with a mask, obviously, social distancing. But plane tickets they used to be very affordable when we first started our relationship, when we started traveling. Prices increased after COVID a little bit more. So the financial part of it was also a thing that affected us. But we made it work. I think it was 2021 when I officially moved. I think I had 2 check bags, my carry-on, a personal item. I brought a lot of clothes mostly because the material things, she had her apartment, she had all the furniture that we would need. But yeah, like little souvenirs, a couple of the family pictures. But yeah, other than that, I didn't bring material things that much. When my family comes and they visit, my mom or my sisters usually bring me either a candy or things that we can have around our house that remind us of Costa Rica, of the traditional things. And everybody from my family is there. So yeah, I had to say goodbye to everybody. My dad, I talked to him, stay in touch with him. My grandma, especially my mom, she messages me every morning, good morning, I hope you have a good day. And then at night, we at least make sure to say good night. My sisters every now and then, but they're always with her too. So when she's talking to me, she sends me a voice message. I can hear my sister saying something, jumping in. And my aunt, occasionally the pictures of my cousins, their kids, and they're small. There's a lot of, I think, growing involved when you leave the country that you're familiar with, and you have to move to a place that you don't know anything about, and you don't know how things work, all the healthcare, insurances, credit score. You didn't have that. I had to learn all of that. I'm more open, and I have a bigger understanding of a different culture now. I'm now able to adapt a lot easier to changes because I just had to leave everything and It's also learning a lot about people, how people communicate, how to communicate in a second language. Because even though I'm fluent, I feel like I sometimes understand things a little bit differently or too literal sometimes, because I was taught English in a certain way. My now wife, she doesn't speak Spanish, so it would have been a harder transition for her than it was for me. The culture here, the lifestyle are very fast-paced. Everything feels a little bit more rushed here. I think a lot of the culture revolves around finances and like money and being able to, pay for your things and pay for rent, and that constant thought of money. In Costa Rica is very different. Like, people usually have jobs, and even if they don't pay a lot, you're not always thinking of how I'm going to pay for things. Something that comes up a lot is medical bills. The health system in Costa Rica is different. We have a public health system that is very affordable. We don't have high prices in our insurance. Even private care is very, very affordable. Coffee is very popular in Costa Rica. We're known for having pretty good coffee. I'm used to drinking coffee every morning. My family has come to visit. They bring Costa Rican coffee. When I'm preparing food, there's a sauce that we use in Costa Rica. It's very famous, the Lisano sauce. It's like a vegetable sauce. You use it with your tamales. And my family also brings me that specific sauce because you can't find it here. I think my style of cooking, sometimes it's still very Costa Rican. Costa Rican lifestyle is the Pura Vida lifestyle. That obviously translates literally to pure life. It means to enjoy life, be in the moment, and enjoy what's happening around you. Enjoy your family, your friends, do things you like. We use Pura Vida also as a phrase. Like when I'm greeting somebody, I would use Pura Vida. Or when somebody's leaving and I just want to wish them well, you can also say Pura Vida. Yeah, so the blue zones are areas in our country where people that are living over 100 years old, they've related that to a lifestyle that is not so stressful. I think the American dream, what I used to hear is people from lower income or that are having problems finding work or decent work in their home country want to come to the US to find better job opportunities and make more money. And I think part of that is just the economy. In my country, there are good jobs, but for that same job here in the States, because the cost of living is higher, they pay more here. So I think that's what people see, and they think, oh, I'm gonna make more money, I'm gonna be more successful. They see more opportunities. I don't think I necessarily thought of coming here to be more successful in terms of work. The fact that we were gonna get married and I was gonna start that family here, that was like the main part of it. And I just thought, I'm gonna find a job, I'm gonna find somewhere to work, and I'm gonna make a living regardless of where I'm at. I am a supervisor at the receiving dock at a furniture store, so I manage all the trucks that aren't coming, all the merchandise that's coming into the store. For that job in Costa Rica, I would get paid a little bit less. Coming to the States, I did change my career. I just wanted to start working. I just wanted, work. And in Costa Rica, I was following the personal training and fitness career. So I feel like if I had stayed in that path, it would have been a little different. I do have a degree in physical education. That was my area of studies. Yeah, the United States, I guess for me, would be the country where we were able to get married and were able to start our family. It opened opportunities for me when I came here, and I think it was very easy for me to start a job and to start providing for my family, considering that I completely, moved from another country. I had nothing here to help me in terms of history or getting a job, setting our roots. That's what the States means. It allowed me to have a start with my family. I am more masculine presenting than, most women you would find in Costa Rica. people were not as exposed to like my style in Costa Rica, so I would get questions a lot about that. In the bathrooms, restrooms, public places, I would be referred to as gentleman, man. They would refer to me as masculine. I don't think that's bad. Like I said, I don't take offense to that. But that doesn't happen here as often. And I think because there's more people like that here that dress like me, that probably look like me. I feel like with the States being a much bigger country, you have a larger population. Also, history itself has started here a lot of the times, or we see more of it. The history of that same-sex love and lifestyle. People were not very public about it in smaller countries like that because people just don't understand it. Costa Rica is a very Catholic country. Over time, there has been more and more exposure because it started here first. People are more used to it here. I think at the time, Costa Rica, because it was so recent that they approved same-sex marriage, people were still fighting for being able to have their spouses added to like their insurance or like hospital visits, and that would not be an issue for heterosexual couples. Those kind of rights, I think they were still trying to figure that out in Costa Rica. They were like, okay, you can get married, but I would get looks a lot more often in Costa Rica. Like if we were to go together, we would get occasional looks, like walking, holding hands, and like in public places. But I feel like people are more accepting of it now. But I didn't think it was gonna happen that soon, to be honest. I think it was hidden for a long time. So now with that being legalized, people feel more comfortable being more open. One of the first times I was coming, I had a layover in Texas. I was just walking around the airport, with my suitcase like anybody else. We had exited one of the planes, and everybody was just walking, grabbing their bags, their suitcases. I was just by myself. Just walked by one of the security guys, and they just looked at me. They stopped me and they pulled me aside, and then they started questioning me. They wanted to check my suitcase. They wanted me to open the suitcase, and at first I figured, it's like a security check. Maybe they do that. But then I didn't see them stopping anybody else. They took me to another room in the back, and they started asking me questions. Why are you here? What is the reason of your visit? When I told them I was gonna meet my girlfriend, so is your girlfriend American? Did she pay for your tickets? How did you pay for your tickets? So I told them, I have a job. I paid for my ticket. They kept asking that type of questions, implying that because she was an American, she was probably paying for my things. I had 2 phones at the time because I had my regular Costa Rican phone, and then I had an iPhone that my dad had gifted me not too long before that. That looked suspicious to them, so they started also asking questions about the phones, and then about my ring, who paid for it, also alluding to the money part of it, that maybe I was not able to afford these things, or like I'm going to visit somebody who's paying for all my things.
And this wasn't Customs or Border Patrol. This was just
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I was just walking.
So they just took you to a random room and just started interrogating you?
And then they opened my suitcase, took everything out. And then once they didn't find anything, they didn't find what they were looking for, I'm assuming. They just left everything. They were like, okay, you're good to go. So I had to pack my suitcase again and then head back to where I was going. First I was anxious, obviously, because I'm like, oh, well, I'm in a country, I'm not from here, I'm not even in California where she's at. I'm like in Texas. I don't know anybody here. If something were to happen, like, what do I do? And then they took me to this other room, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what could happen. I don't know. That part was a little tricky, so I was definitely anxious. But then when they told me, like, no, you're good to go, I was like, okay. I called her, and I was like, so this happened, And she was worried. She was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, they asked me this, and but I think that's the only discrimination that I have felt. I feel like for us, if we decide to go back, it would be to have that change, to be able to relax, to not have so many worries, to not have to think about money all the time, or being able to enjoy time with family. Also, nature is a lot more beautiful there, I would say, than Fresno. cost of living is much lower. So we wanted to buy a house, or if we wanted to buy a car, start a family there, I feel like it would be easier for us to do. But now we have to think about, we started a family here. She has her family here. We'll definitely go back.